Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not sure, I didn't catch you answered there. Who was that?
Yes, I'm here.
And you are?
The father.
Lucas?
Yep.
So Lucas Whittick is
Whittick.
Candace Reddick. I'm sorry. Whittick, I'm
No,
sorry.
Whittick. Yeah.
Got
It's
it.
okay.
My apologies.
And I don't know if the mother is able to be here.
I don't.
The mother had.
Go ahead.
The mother could not be served. She refused service.
Okay. And do we have, is Teresa?
That's me. I
Okay.
make my screen show myself. I don't know how to do that.
No, you're fine. That's, let me just take a quick look here. I didn't have any proof of service in the file for anyone, so.
Lucas was served on the 3rd or the 5th. 3rd or the 5th. I can't remember. I gotta look at the piece of paper.
Okay. All right. So let's start there at least. We probably will need a court visitor on this case, I assume. Let's think we haven't got one appointed at this point. Do we have a list on those that we're doing that from, or? Okay, so we do that after. All right. So we're gonna need to get a court visitor appointed. Mr. Whittick, have you had a chance to look through the paperwork that you've received?
Yes.
So it's pretty short service for today. In other words, not a lot of notice, even if you were served on the 3rd. A couple of questions are, first off, are you opposing the requests at this time?
What I would like to do is actually just sign my rights over, because I tried for close to 6 months to get her engaged in school and get her in, the stuff that she needed. And all she wanted to do is fight in school and then start threatening the lives of everybody that was over here.
Okay, so I'll take that as that you're agreeable to have the petitioner be the guardian at this point?
Yes, I don't want the child support. I don't want all of that, because she spent 5 years keeping my kids from me. And when I finally got them back, they were just so done that they just hated me.
Okay, well,
I hate to say it, but that's not true, Your Honor.
all right. Well, regardless of if there's a guardianship, particularly if there's any kind of state interest, this doesn't change any child support obligations. I don't see anything in the file at this juncture. So unless a child is actually adopted, that's not something that would take place. But
yeah, I attempted to get the police reports from where I had to call the police on multiple occasions to have them come over. And I spent a lot of time talking to them and the CHD on what my options were. And it was basically either I send her somewhere, or I'd probably be the one that would end up going to jail trying to protect, the other children in the house, my fiance.
okay. So at this point, let me see here just a second here.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I have had Rainey for 6 months and 8 days now, and she is an A student in school. I've had absolutely no problems with her whatsoever. She goes to school every day. She goes to church on Wednesday, to youth group. We just got a letter from the school of her AD grade status, and she is catching up on her ninth grade year, carrying an AB in that as well. So I am what do I want to say? He sent a letter, which is included in this, that says, you get to have my kid, but you you can't file for child support, and you can't claim her on your taxes. So to me, that just means they want her as that's all she's good for. So them is a deduction.
That's what Natalie wants them for.
What?
What Natalie wants.
How do you want?
So Natalie wants to deduct Samantha from her taxes.
Who is that talking?
What's
To
what?
deduct Samantha, to use Samantha for taxes.
What?
All right, whoever is on the phone with a number ending 14585, who is that? I'm going to mute that number so we don't get feedback. All right. Well, at this point, just process-wise, I need to get a visitor, essentially a guardian ad litem type person appointed for the case. So we'll do that after court. Mr. Wydick, it sounds like you're agreeable to have the child stay with the grandmother, at least at this point, subject to other issues that may be contested. So I'll approve an emergency guardianship to her pending, we still need to have the mother be served and go from there.
I tried to do that 3 days. She pretty much just looked out the window at the server and was like, not going to answer the door.
Okay, well, she will need to be served before we can get a full, and then you will need to file for a full guardianship if that's your plan. So,
Yeah.
Well, my question for Teresa is, why don't you just adopt her? Because
Sir,
I can prove that the whole 6
sir,
months she was with me, she did
Mr.
horrible
Wydick?
in school.
Mr. Wydick, if you can have you just hold on a second. You certainly can address those issues. This is probably not the time or place to do that. That could potentially be a plan, but that's up to a lot of other factors. So what I'm going to do today, I am going to, at least with regards to a temporary order, approve Miss Lee to be the temporary. We have this is not the one I should do. Do we have the extended emergency one? Okay. Do we have it up here? We just 1 second. Okay. So what I'll do, we'll get a court visitor appointed, and then we'll set this out. Looks like I'm going to go to the 13th. Looks like we don't. We do have a mailing address for everybody, it looks like. Sir, you're at this in La Grande, Oregon?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll have my assistant send a copy of the order out to that address. And also we have one for Miss Lee. We will need to get Miss Jones served, and I would go ahead and set the next date that what I just said there, which would be the 13th of February at 10:30. So we'll get that order done after court and appoint a visitor, and then we'll come back for review at that time.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And Mr. Wydick, as far as your other thoughts on, possible adoption or other things, you certainly can have those discussions with the petitioner. You probably want to bring that up with the court visitor who will be appointed and be looking into the case as well.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're right. February 13th at 10:30, and I'll approve temporary or an immediate temp. So, and you're representing the mother.
Correct.
All right. And Ms. Day is our visitor. Very good. Okay. So where are we at today?
My client consents to the guardianship to her mother. I've explained to her what that means. And she's incarcerated, and primarily she doesn't want the father to be pursuing any kind of visitation or custody rights. She indicates he has a significant drug problem. Anyway, she is potentially going to be released in 6 months and wants to get her children back at that point. And I've explained to her that if it's not agreed, that it will cause, require litigation on her part and potentially, another court visitor to make sure that she's a safe environment for the children to be turned over to her. And I've explained that to her, and she still agrees that she wants to go ahead and consent to the guardianship of the children to her mother at this time until she's out of jail.
All right. Ms. Glens, can you hear me all right there? All right. So Kim Glens, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, there we go. I wasn't getting the audio back. So you're agreeable to have this proceed on at least in a temporary basis, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Just wanted to verify that. And Ms. Day, I did take a look at your report. Looks like you're in agreement. This is a good plan at this point.
Yes, Your Honor, I do believe it's a good plan. Mother does agree and has consented. Father was served on December 22nd. He was aware of today's court date. I don't see him present here, so I see no reason not to move forward with providing protection and care for these children while mother is incarcerated and father is also facing incarceration. Both parents have a long history of substance abuse, and it will be necessary to undergo some significant steps to have the children returned. Mother is doing those things while she's incarcerated. So hopefully that brings a positive outcome for both of these children.
Okay, very good. Do we have an order on this one? We do not have an order on this one. Apparently. So we will need that. So
Is Mr. Anagnostou available to prepare that order?
I could prepare an order, Your Honor. And
okay, hold on one second. We're having an audio issue on our end for some reason. Okay, so Mr. Anagnostou, go ahead.
Ms. Day has just requested that I prepare an order. I can do that on behalf of my client. The question becomes, what are the terms of the order going to be? We're entering a temporary guardianship.
Temporary emergency guardianship. Has this been filed as a regular guardianship as well? Yeah, this is an emergency only.
Right.
So if we're going to go for longer than we probably need to get some additional paperwork filed on a regular guardianship if it's going to be longer than, because I don't think this is going to last to the extent that she's in custody.
Part of some of the temporary orders I've seen have indicated that they will be in effect until the next court date.
Well, I certainly could do that. We run into some questions if somebody challenges that order, obviously.
Right.
But Ms. Day, would you have any concerns about that type of an order?
No, I think I would agree with Mr. Anagnostou that an order that goes forward until mother's release, I think is appropriate. If mother is unable to maintain after that point, then a full guardianship would need to be filed, I think. But I think given the fact that she's in custody, that she's doing services, I think that there's a probability that she will be very successful. She seems very motivated. And I think grandma can be protective. If mom is not able to maintain, she can then file for the full guardianship.
Okay. Do you know what your approximate release date is supposed to be, ma'am?
August 12th.
Okay. So, Mr. Anagnostou, why don't you make a temporary that goes through the month of August of 24? Or we'll set a new hearing. Let's do that. We'll set a hearing on the 27th of August for review.
Okay.
So that'll be our next hearing, and then I'll sign off on an order once everybody's approved it.
Okay.
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So is the father not able to seek, speaking to the kids or anything right now without going to court? I just want to make sure they're protected.
I'm not going to include any specifics with regards to him because he's not here requesting anything. So I would suggest, Mr. Anagnostou, if you want to put in the order that the father can, with notice to all parties, the father would need to request any contact through the court.
Thank you.
And then we'll deal with that if that happens. He's not here today, so it sounds like he's not doing anything at the moment. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And do you need a review date, Mr. Anagnostou, for entry of that, or do you want to just circulate it?
I will circulate it, and then, yeah, I don't think we need a review date for presentation.
Why don't I go ahead and let's just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Is 2 weeks sufficient, you think, or?
That's fine.
All right. So let's put it on for the 23rd for presentation of the order. If we get an order soon, if you could, or sooner than that, let me know and we can strike that hearing. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So what do we have here on that matter?
I'm her mother, Brittany Shear.
Okay. This one.
I have DCYF present, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That was my question. Do we have?
Yeah,
Can you update us?
I'm the current social worker assigned to the case.
And I was the petitioner.
All right, very good. So what's happening on this case as far as the department?
So the department filed a petition, dependency petition, and we had court yesterday. It was continued till the 22nd. So the adults and child could be appointed lawyers or attorneys, and we'll be coming back together on the 22nd to decide. We are filing to place Elizabeth back in the home of mother with some contingencies. And we are offering services to the family. So it's an in-home dependency.
Got it. Okay. So, and I see Ms. Goat, is it Alley Goats or Getz?
It's Gertza. That's fine.
Could you say it again? I'm sorry.
It's Gertza.
Gertza. My apology. I've not heard that pronunciation. My apologies.
Thank
So
you.
do you understand what that does as far as this case goes?
Yeah, I understand. However, I would like to ask for visitation with my niece.
That would need to be done through the department or through the dependency court.
Okay.
Because once that case is filed, I don't have any ability unless the juvenile court waives jurisdiction to do anything in this case.
Okay.
So my thought would be is I'm not going to enter any orders. I'm not going to dismiss the case at this point. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the dependency will be successful and that will resolve everything. If not, we could come back and I guess do something in this case.
Okay. Awesome.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. May I ask a question?
Sure.
With the guardianship that Ms. Gertza filed, she had requested a no contact order between the child and the mother. Child is wanting visits with mom while the shelter care is pending. I'm just wondering if that no contact.
Your Honor, I asked that I get at least, I have no record, Your Honor, of child abuse, child neglect, nothing. Like, I am asking for my rights to my child back. There is a lot of family hostility in this case, and I have to do my homework and talk to my attorneys and everything. And I ask that I just get my parental rights back and my child back in my home, Your Honor, please.
And Your Honor, what I'm asking is we don't want to set up visitation if it's going to violate a restraining order. So I'm not sure how we should proceed because the child does want visitation with her mother.
Okay. Well, hold on just a second. At this point, what I've got an order that said a hearing. Something's right there.
Your Honor, also please note, she does live with somebody with a criminal history, her husband, who is in and out of the prison system right now.
Okay. So here's where we're at. There's an order that was entered on January 5th regarding appointment of attorney. The temporary orders, it doesn't appear were extended at that time unless I'm missing something. Did she extend it to today? Okay. So given the fact, it sounds like there was an order extending to today, which may have impacted an ability to have contact or whatever.
Right.
I don't have any ability to enter an order extending, so that order would expire as of today,
Okay, great.
essentially the end of this hearing. So unless the dependency is dismissed or jurisdiction is waived by that court to allow this to move forward, this case has no effect on anybody's rights
Okay,
at all.
perfect.
just
We
gonna
just
sit
want to
here
violate any orders by setting up visitation. So just
No.
wanted some clarification. Thank you for that very much.
No. So what'll happen is there'll be an order entered by Judge Hahn that'll expire. Apparently it hasn't made it to the file yet, but it will expire as of today.
Okay, perfect.
And the dependency court will take over everything. So, the mother, you'll need to deal with the department and the dependency court as far as all those things. Sounds like they're working on getting that organized.
Yes,
And then, the petitioner in this case, you'll need to talk with the department as far as any kind of contact with the child.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. So there'll be no further hearings on this case unless a dependency is terminated, and then somebody would need to renote it at that point.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
thank you.
You're welcome. So I see Ms. Kalbitz is present, so petitioner.
Yes, Your Honor.
And do we have Corian Mink-Martin or Jeffrey Mink-Martin?
I'm here, Corianne Martin.
Okay.
I have no way to get a hold of her father.
Okay. So I was just looking in this file. I did not see any service documents. Did you receive paperwork on this case, ma'am?
Yes,
And when did that happen?
on the 3rd, I think. The 2nd or 3rd.
Okay. So just last week.
Yes.
All right. And I guess my first question, are you objecting to the petition?
I would like to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
There are things in the petition that need to be addressed.
All right. So we can appoint you an attorney. Do we have a list of those? Or are we doing that outside of court? Okay. So we will, let me check here just a second. So what we'll do at this juncture, and then talking to Mom, I'll appoint an attorney for you. I don't have a name for you today. I'll need to check with court administration. We'll get an order entered appointing you counsel. Do you have any objection to the situation staying in place until we have an opportunity for you to talk with a lawyer and have a hearing at that juncture?
As long as I'm able to be at my daughter's dentist appointment on the 20th, which is a Saturday,
Any problem with that, Ms. Kalbitz?
at 1 o'clock.
I was not aware of the dental appointment. I had asked for full ability to take care of educational doctor visits. The dental thing has been an ongoing thing for years. Samantha's teeth are literally rotting out of their mouth, and I've been denied dental care for years.
Natalie,
Okay, hold on.
Natalie, please.
Hold just a second. Just a second. My question is, do you have any problem with her attending the dentist
I
appointment?
I do. She had to be removed from the hospital clinic by security when we had taken Samantha to an appointment. Samantha does not feel safe.
Natalie,
excuse me, can I please talk?
Tell Samantha I was going to be there. I specifically told you I would be there. Did you tell her?
I had no contact from you on if you were going to be there. You called and left me a voicemail asking about what the appointment was for. I called and I spoke to my grandfather. She did not say that. I have the voicemail still.
I did too, Your Honor.
I have the voicemail and I can provide the proof that she is not communicating with
I would be there.
Can I please speak, Corey?
Okay. So
she was removed by security for causing a scene. Samantha does not feel safe with their mother. They have asked to stay with me full time. They do not want to go home for fear of retaliation because Corey has a history of it.
Natalie, so do you.
Okay. I need you folks to just.
And that is, Your Honor.
Ma'am, Okay, you both need to just hold on for a minute. Okay. What, it sounds like that Ms. Cowlitz was not aware there was a dental appointment, so.
I have been
No.
I told Samantha that there would be an appointment on the 3rd. We have been working on her dental, 3 different dental appointments since October.
Okay.
I am not
Okay.
neglecting her
Hold on.
dental.
Got it. Okay, I understand. So here's what I'm going to do. I think having the two of you in the same place at the same time probably isn't going to be beneficial to anybody. What I will do is, I'm not going to have you attend the appointment, but
Your Honor,
let me
please.
finish. Let me finish. Okay, Ms. Cowitz needs to provide you at the end of that appointment the summary provided by the dentist.
The issue is, Your Honor, she has to have sedation, oral sedation for this appointment. My daughter is autistic. She has very bad fears of the dentist. I'm in the process of trying to get her medication because they screwed up. So it's going to have to be picked up, and she has to take it the night before and the day up. I will not be going out to her home or anything like that. My plan is to walk there and to walk home. I just want to be there to see if she responds the same way to this sedation as she's had in the past. And then they will decide from there if they are going to refer her for full sedation. This is something I need to, make sure things are going to be okay with that. It's very important that I attend this one. And I know she does not want me, that Natalie does not want me there.
Okay.
That I have been working since October on her dental.
All right. So, Ms. Cowitz, you said you weren't aware of this appointment?
I had called to try to reschedule the appointment because we had missed it due to everything going on. And I actually called.
Hey, ma'am, do not
I'd actually
interrupt.
called yesterday to reschedule it, but I had to leave a voicemail. The clinic is only open on Monday, Wednesday, and every other Saturday, so it's hard to get a hold of them. And I left them a voicemail to call me back so we could reschedule, and I apologize for calling late.
Yeah, I called and rescheduled it because I had a feeling there was going to be issue with everything going on. So I scheduled for the 20th on a Saturday, which she will not have to miss school. And that's why I changed it to that day. And I will have the medication for her before it. But she needs to take it once at night and one in the morning.
And I called her and she didn't answer.
So I'm just letting you know it's been rescheduled. And if you don't want to take it, then you can reschedule again. But I have made the change with them for that day.
So here's my thought. I think I want to get a little farther into this case before I make any. It seems to me that there's a lot of questions that come up when I hear things like this. It probably makes sense to reschedule that until we can get a little farther in this case, and have some better parameters set up. So what I'm going to do today, we'll get an attorney appointed for mom.
I would also like an attorney if possible.
We're not appointing for petitioners, are we? So we don't have a provision for that currently. Okay. You certainly have right to retain an attorney.
Okay.
And then we need to appoint a court visitor in this case as well. That's essentially a guardian ad litem type person who will step in and give a report back to the court as to the appropriateness of and other recommendations with regards to the case. So we'll appoint that person. So for the mother, I'll need to get you to get your address and contact information to the court. And I'd prefer we don't do that over Zoom here because that's being broadcast out onto the universe. So are you able to swing by the courthouse and provide a document, fill out a contact information sheet for the court?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can do that, I'm going to do up an order appointing you an attorney, to open order appointing a court, it's called a court visitor, but it's like a guardian ad litem. And then you can also be able to pick up a copy of the order that I'll be entering today that simply extends the situation that we're doing right now. I am going to direct that this appointment that's set for the 20th, that'll need to be rescheduled because I want to get more information about this whole case. If that gets put out a couple of weeks, I understand that's an important thing, needs to be done, obviously, and time is important, but a week or two is not going to have that detrimental of an effect. But I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because we don't need to have anybody getting in trouble for causing disruptions. And I think Mom's voicing some fairly legitimate concerns that I want to know a little more about before we proceed. All right, so I'll appoint a visitor, an attorney for Mom, and then I'll extend this order out. Thinking maybe to the 6th of February. That's not a holiday, correct? To February 6th. And then we'll be able to hopefully make a little more progress on this.
Okay, thank you.
As far as that appointment, I wouldn't reschedule that unless you schedule it at least a couple of weeks after that hearing date, just to make sure we don't get into a situation of having to keep striking that appointment. I understand those can be challenging to get set, but I will we'll address that when we get to the next hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll get those orders entered, and then we'll be back February 6th at 10:30. We'll get again, if you can stop by the courthouse to get us your contact information for the file, so we have a way to make sure we get information to. Then as far as the father on this one,
He's not in her life.
is he listed on the birth certificate?
Yes.
Okay. So we do need to at least attempt to get him served. We have no idea where he's at.
No, I do not have a phone number anymore, and he is basically homeless living in Kelso.
Okay. So the court visitor can look into that also when she talks to both of you. And we'll report back to the court and we'll determine how we need to proceed on that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So February 6th at 10:30.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Bye. February 6th.
Your Honor, I did have one final question.
Yes, ma'am.
Samantha is 16, and it was my understanding that as 16 in the state of Washington, you have a say towards where you go for your living arrangements. Is that still the case?
The visitor will talk to her about that, and we'll make a recommendation as to whether there should be an attorney appointed. That's part of the court visitor job.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Muldoon is present, and do we have Cassandra? Excuse me.
I am, Your Honor.
There we go. Okay. And we have Mr. Goodday still?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So where are we at on this case?
Okay, I guess I'll give the update. Sorry, Your Honor. Wasn't sure who was going to jump in.
Whoever wants to do that. It looks like there was some visitation being worked out, and that's kind of where it left off on the notes. So
that is where we are. The mother is having regular visitation with Austin, and that is going relatively well, considering, transition for children is very, very difficult. Mother is, I finally was able to receive some records last night. She is actively engaged in treatment, but the one main concern I have is she has not complied with the UAs as requested, and there have been not a UA provided since November. So I'm going to request today that the court order Mom to take a hair follicle so we can establish that she's been clean and sober for 90 days, which is her report and what we have going on. So I would ask that she would do that right away, and do the standard test so that we could determine that she has remained clean and sober, because of, I think there's 3 or 4 missed UAs in a row. So I have concerns about that. Outside of that, I think Mother's doing well. She's in treatment. She's responsive. I think this is difficult for this young child. He loves his mom. He also loves the petitioner, and he's been in the petitioner's care for a significant period of time. And this transition is tough. He's struggling at school. His behaviors have escalated again recently, and that has posed some challenges. And I'm asking that we would just continue with the schedule as it is, until that hair follicle test comes back and we're able to see where we're at and then potentially look at any other changes that need to be done. Austin is in the process of being evaluated for an IEP. He also has a couple of specialist appointments coming up with a urologist and a neurologist, I think. And he recently had some significant dental work done. So there's a lot going on for this little guy. And the one other thing I would say is I would just really ask the court to caution mother specifically, but both the parties about not discussing court with this child. He believes with everything in him that he's going home today because he's aware that there's court going on. And that has really amped up his emotional ability to manage. And unless the court does something completely out of unexpected, I don't expect he'll be going home today full time. And either way, I don't want him to feel the loss of the petitioner who's cared for him for the last 2.5 years or the loss of the relationship with mother. So that's kind of the short version of where we are.
Okay. So I guess a couple of questions and then I'll hear from the other parties. It looks like that we're still under an immediate temporary order.
That is correct, Your Honor. We've been under the immediate temporary for a little while now in the hopes that we were going to be able to get this resolved without having the need for filing for a full guardianship. Mother was very active in getting involved in substance abuse treatment and moving in with her grandmother and taking some real positive steps forward. It's just not quite as quick, I think, as everybody had hoped.
Okay. Mr. Goodday, any comments?
No, Your Honor, that all sounds like my recollection of the last hearing and hearing some new information from Ms. Day, but everything sounds like what I expected.
Okay. Do you have any objection to your client doing the UA testing?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And is the Reddens, are they present?
I am, Your Honor.
There we go. Okay. I got a big screen here. I got to find you on the screen. All right. And do you have any objection to that request? Essentially, we keep status quo, get some drug testing, and then come back in either, I assume, probably about a month.
No, that sounds good. He is being evaluated through the school, and that's going to take at least the rest of this month for the evaluation to come through.
Okay.
He does have some upcoming appointments that I would like to be able to take him through. He has a urology appointment where he's actually having a surgery done, I believe, on the 2nd, which is a Friday. One of my concerns would be that he's going to be very out of it and in a lot of pain. With that, he is not able to do a lot of things. So if I do drop him off with Bree on Friday, he's not allowed to open his legs. He's not allowed to sit on anything, no rough play. It would have to be a very chill, sitting around watching cartoons, not playing type of thing. So.
Okay. And Ms. Muldoon, any problem with any of those issues? In other words,
I do have just a couple things that I wanted to address with the court. One, Your Honor, I do tell my son about court because my son is aware of what's going on, even as a 4-year-old. I do allow him to understand and let him know that, hey, this is what mom has to do, unfortunately, in order to be able to bring you back home. Because when he is with me, he does want to be home with mom. It is a freak out every time I go to take him home. It's hard because, and what am I supposed to tell him? It's hard to find exactly what to say. So I do tell him, listen, I have to go to court because mommy made some choices. Now this is what I'm doing. And it's up to the judge when you get to come home. That's exactly what I tell my son. Another thing is I have been in treatment for the past 4 months. I have 124 days sober today. I have no problem taking a hair follicle test at all. I will do that. On top of it, my son does have a lot of anger problems and he acts out because of the fact that he does want to be home with me. I understand that why we have to go through all this and what we're doing to do all this. Even when getting him home, I do plan on continuing and going forth with my sobriety. I do ask that I am able to be there with all these surgeries. I was not. I'm informed that he has all these things that he has to get done. I don't understand how they were able to do all these things without my permission technically to do all these things, because I do have custody of my child. And I know the guardianship, it shows them they're allowed to have, you know, certain things that they can do with him in the minor guardianship. Another thing is, you know, like I said, I know my son wants to come home. I would love my son to be home so I can continue to do what I'm supposed to do as a parent. I appreciate everything Cassandra and them have done for me and my son do through this whole process. Like I said, I would really like my son to be able to come home with me so I can continue to grow my bond with him, continue to learn my parenting skills with him even better when he's actually home more. So that is my what I have to say to the court today. So
okay. Thank you. So a couple of things. One is the healthcare. I mean, they're allowed to do that because under a court order they have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So I also think, particularly in a case like this where there's a lot of contact going on, obviously, that it's important to keep mom informed as to what's happening as far as the medical things, especially surgeries and things, because those are concerning issues, obviously, for parents. So my third thing really is, you understand that if he's going to have some sort of surgery, it's going to be a different kind of visit that you would have right after that. It might even be better if you guys work together and either that happened maybe just before the surgery or even a little bit after the surgery, as opposed to the day after, because most people, having had a couple of surgeries, the day after surgery, you don't feel like doing much of anything. So that may be something that you want to have either a short contact and maybe a longer visit a day or two later or something, but I'll let you guys work that out. It sounds like you've been able to do that. But it's just real important that you understand that if he's had surgery of any kind, there's going to be a change in what you're able to do on a visit.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay, good. So the other thing, and you commented, and I understand that it's difficult when you're in the situation you are, particularly when kids ask questions, but your son's what, 4 years old now or 5?
Yes, sir. He'll be 5 in May.
Okay. He doesn't need to know about what's happening here. And I'll tell you why, because kids at that age, kids when they're 15, they don't really understand what's happening with a legal process. A lot of parents don't understand the legal process. And there's a lot of when a child has an expectation that maybe you didn't give them, but they develop because of information they have, and then that doesn't happen. That creates a huge amount of angst with the kid. So in many ways, at this age in particular, the less they know about what's happening here, probably the better, because it creates stress for the child. Maybe you could talk with Miss Day about maybe a better way to answer those questions, but talking to the child that we have court today or anything like that isn't helpful to the child. It just isn't. It causes more problems and that's for everybody. I mean, just let them know that if they ask questions about what's going on, say, maybe they can talk to Miss Day. She's kind of a neutral party, and she maybe has a better way to answer those questions, but it's really a challenge for kids. And I can tell you, I mean, I've had discussions with my own son, particularly when he's those ages, and you say, gee, it'd be kind of fun to do something. They think that's going to happen. So they don't have the capacity to understand that, gee, that'd be fun to do something doesn't mean you're going to go do that. So discussions of this nature with kids that age really just not helpful. Okay, so don't, but reach out to Ms. Day. Maybe she can give you some thoughts on some more productive ways to handle those questions if they come up. And really, this is only, we're trying to make this as least of an impact on your kid as it can be, because that's really the focus of my job, is to make sure that whatever we do here is in the child's best interest. So, so what I'm going to need to have you do, ma'am, is I want you to do the drug test, obviously do the hair follicle, and make sure you're in compliance with your treatment drug testing, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I believe Ms. Day has access to those through through this process. So she'll be reporting back. As far as this appointment coming up, it sounds like that's already happening. And if you may want to talk with the guardians to see maybe adjusting visitation a little bit so that you can have a better visit, as opposed to maybe you may want to do it on Sunday instead of Friday or Saturday.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Sure.
I do have a couple of things just to say. For one is the health insurance. With all of everything going on, Bree's mom is the one who had signed him up for health insurance, and I know it's the beginning of the year. Me and my husband are not allowed to sign him up on ours without having actual legal guardians. So one of my concerns is the health insurance. As far as all of his appointments, I have told Tina Day about them, and I have also updated Bree as of how things go, how he's doing when he's out. I would really like to work with Bree on, the upcoming appointments. I'd like for us to be a team for Austin. I do not say anything around Austin that could be negative about his family or his parents. When I talk about love, we talk about everybody that loves him and how lucky he is that, mama, grandma, all of them love him. We all love him. He does have behavior problems, and that is also through a lot of stuff he's been through. And that's where the IEP is coming in. And we are in the middle of counseling. We are trying to show him, instead of throwing punches when you're angry, let's try to do this. And I would like Bree to be a part of that. If Bree can make it to one of his appointments, I'm open to that. I would really like for this to go smoothly, that Austin knows that everybody loves him, that after we do transfer him into his mother's home, that we still get to be a part of his life. I'm not doing this to punish Bree. I'm doing it to make sure Austin's well taken care of. And that's really my goal.
Okay. So, Ms. Baldoon, are you able to help facilitate getting his insurance paperwork signed up?
Yeah, it is signed up.
You did?
Yeah, it's with my mom. My mom signed up his insurance, so he's on my insurance, which is the CHNW.
Okay.
We do need that card to continue his counseling appointments and for his upcoming surgeries and everything else. So I will need that.
So if you could make sure that they get that card, obviously it'd come back to you once he's back with you, but we need to make sure that whoever's accessing that has the ability to take care of that. Okay. So I'll go ahead and extend this order out again. It sounds like this is moving in a good direction. It doesn't make sense to do much else. So do we want to come back maybe the 6th of February?
I think that sounds good, Your Honor.
I'll get that order entered, and then we'll see you all back February 6th and give my good wishes to the child for the surgery. I see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Your Honor.
All
So this is a fairly simple one.
Okay. I like that.
I thought so. So we are waiting for the CPS info to be filed by DCYF. We can't go forward until we do that. Both parents have been served. I just received copies of documents from the petitioner this morning to enter defaults against the parents. I haven't reviewed them yet, but that's where we're at. We're ready to enter findings as soon as the CPS info is in. So
Okay.
if we could maybe get the clerk to check on that, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, it looks
Your
like
Honor, I apologize. It's Casey Louie on behalf of the state. I may have a slight complication that I need to bring up. We will need to be filing a notice of appearance because of the full petition. But as I was checking while I was waiting for this case to be up, it is noted that Mr. Salas is not noted as the father on the child's birth certificate, and the Division of Child Support in an administrative aspect is at this time trying to establish parentage for the child.
Okay. I don't know that complicates this significantly. It just means that the guardianship order would not include him. It looks like he has been served back in December, but I don't know that I can find a guardianship against the alleged father until that paternity is established.
I did just want to make everyone aware, Your Honor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's helpful. And it does look like we're probably in the position of where a default is 1217. We're probably next week would be in at least default timing, or we're real close right now. So, but how long is DSHS taking to get those paperwork filed?
Well, sometimes they take about 3 to 4 weeks, but we did kind of run into a glitch where some of these had to be resubmitted, and so they're taking longer.
Okay.
And I was not aware that the father wasn't on the birth certificate, so I don't normally request copies of the birth certificate unless that issue is raised. So that's why I was unaware of that.
It was a recent discovery, Ms. Barr.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should probably start asking that as a standard question.
It might be useful.
Not aware.
Yeah.
She does have his last name, so I just thought that he was.
No, you didn't do it. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just we need to. There's some legal things that change there. So my thought on this one, since we don't have the paperwork from DSHS, we're not quite ready to do a default. State sounds like they need to file some paperwork in the case. So do we want to just extend this one out maybe to that February 6th date as well?
Sure. It looks like that order was October 2nd. So that's why I'm thinking maybe the clerk's office needs to resubmit it.
Can we do that? My intrepid clerk has just nodded that they will do that. So
perfect.
Okay, I will get an order entered, leaving the status quo, extending it out to February 6th at 10:30.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome.